welcome Juventini to episode 111 of the All Juvecast. We're coming at you with the post-Juve Sampdoria match podcast. And I apologize for the delay, but I've been a little bit under the weather lately. We're still going to keep things rolling here. And I've got a first-time guest with me who I'm very excited to have join me. Ahmad, how are you doing, my friend?
Great. You know what? A new coach, a new Ahmad. So I hope we continue this strong journey. 10 in a row. Let's get to it.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into the match, which your boy Alberto here predicted the final score spot on. So it's nice to kick off the year nailing that. But we're gonna start off. It's tradition around here. First timers on the show. I'd love to hear your story on how you became a Juventino.
For sure. Well, growing up, I was, I come from a foreign family, so football or soccer here in America is very big, right? My cousins, and I think I told you this in the DMs before. My cousins were all Merda fans or Milan fans, like literally all of them, right? And obviously, when I was watching them, I always felt enamored to Del Piero, like they'd be, Shevchenko or whatever was them doing whatever, being obsessed with them. But, Del Piero, the finesse that he had, the class, the elegance, the way he'd rally the players, the way the players played for him, you know what I'm saying? Always enamored me. And, an early memory that, speaking of elegance and stuff like that, not my earliest, but a good memory that I have of Alessandro Del Piero was in the Bernabeu, after putting that masterclass performance in that gold jersey and then getting that standing ovation. Like, it doesn't happen to everyone. So, and then obviously you have, and like every club, you have those legends that stayed. But, I remember going in when we got demoted because of the Calciopoli scandal. I remember we had the radio on, and I remember that being reported. And I had my Milan cousin. He was my oldest cousin, so like we're 8 years apart. But I guess I was 8 years old at the time, 8 or 9 years old, and he was like 16, 17. And I remember him just picking so much fun at me, and and me in the backseat crying. Right, and that day I was wearing my Del Piero jersey. I'm just bawling my eyes out, and then hearing that Zlatan left, Cannavaro left, Thuram left, Zambrotta left. Patrick Vieira left. It was just so, I don't know. It hurt. It hurt so much. And then on the flip side of that, you have players like Buffon, Del Piero, Trezeguet, Camoranesi, Nedved staying. And then so you feel more of that love for them. You know what I'm saying? And then because of that, we got Marchisio's development was a little more quicker, and we were able to get Chiellini. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, Del Piero, it's these icons like that usually hook you in to the clubs you support and whatnot. And Del Piero was that for many. He definitely took my level of fandom to the next set of heights there because it kind of began with watching with my dad occasionally, and Baggio, of course, and then it was just Del Piero. Like, I just got hooked on the way the guy played and just everything about him. So that's great. Thanks for sharing, Ahmad. Now, let's get to the business at hand. Juve Sampdoria, the season opener. Juve, of course, kicking it off with a solid 3-0 victory. Now, we'll get into... What's that?
Convincing for the first time. I mean, it's been so long since we've had a convincing victory,
A lot of positives out here for this one. So before the match started, obviously we got some MVP awards going out. Tech for best goalkeeper in Serie A. Kulusevski, who won it with Parma, of course, last year, the best U23 player. And then Dybala, overall MVP of the league. They gave out those awards. Our starting lineup, Juve Sampdoria. We have Wojciech Szczesny in goal. Danilo, Bonucci, and Chiellini as the three center backs. No surprise there, really.
No.
We have known for a while that Pirlo was flirting with Danilo as a center back. naturally so, everybody was a little skeptical.
Oh
But
yeah, I mean,
we'll get to that in the match there. And then Cuadrado as the right wing back, McKennie getting the start next to Rabiot in the middle, and then Frabota out of nowhere as our left wing back. Now,
well,
center backs were pretty straightforward. Right wing back, totally expected Cuadrado. Now, with Frabota, a little bit of we're going to
surprise.
get into better detail later there, but Pellegrini was apparently going to be benched on De Chilio being the starter.
Harder.
By the time the game match came around, Pellegrini was not even on the team sheet. And
Yeah.
De Chilio was on the bench, and Pirlo had decided to go with the 21-year-old Frabota. And that was the big surprise there. And obviously led to a lot of speculation about what's going on with Pellegrini. And we'll get into more of that after we recap this match. But McKennie getting the start in the middle there. Ramsey being the trequartista role with Kulishevsky, Ronaldo up top. For me, biggest surprise was Frabota, obviously. Everything else kind of made sense. McKennie,
Yeah.
I thought maybe we wouldn't see McKennie and maybe we would see Bentancur,
Mhm.
Rabiot, and Ramsey. But I was fine with seeing McKennie. I have a lot of confidence in him. I felt
Sure.
fine. And, we spoke about it. He had the benefit, and Pirlo even spoke to it after the match.
Yeah.
McKennie had the benefit
Preseason.
of the preseason with the Bundesliga, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah. What were your thoughts on this lineup when you first saw it, Ahmad?
Well, right out the bat was Bentancur, right, for me. And we talked. I think the way he ended last season was marvelous. I think he was, not our best player, but our most because our best player by far was Dybala, but our most consistent player, right? Like he had energy. He moved the ball really well, dribbled when we needed, So and then he had that defensive fight that we lacked from Pjanic last year, you know. But then you look at, I think it was more of a fitness thing where McKennie was on tip top shape. The rest were kind of lagging behind, right? And then Rabiot had international duties, so he was there. Kulusevski the same thing, and Ramsey. So they played matches as opposed to those the South Americans who really didn't have that. Now Chichi for Brazil just put out his team squad, right? So like they're a little behind yet, at the moment. And obviously the big surprise. So that was my first one, and then Frabota, right? Like you and maybe a lot of other Juventini, everyone thought it was going to be Pellegrini, and this was his season. Let's get to it, right? And then we see this guy that weird number. I've never seen this guy in my life. I thought, I know last year they were talking about the youngins, the under 23 team, like Muratori and what's the Olivieri and the other guys, but I never really heard of Rabot. And I'm being just completely straight, right?
Yeah.
So I see this guy and I'm already on edge, and I'm trying to look the other way. He's like, when the ball's on my left, let me look at the right just to see when he gives the ball away. But the more the game, because you can tell in the beginning he was a little cold-feeted. But as the game progressed, I was like, bro, this guy's becoming one of my favorite guys on the field right now. I was like, this guy can do it all. We've been so suspect and on our wing backs, like with left back and right back. I mean, we have Alexandro and Danilo for crying out loud, and we've been so suspect. But this guy has such a breath of fresh air. Like the way he brought the ball up, the way he played the ball, linked play. I was so impressed by him.
Yeah.
And then Wes McKennie was sorry, I'm so sorry, but Wes McKennie was like a Conte kind of guy that we've been lacking for so long too. Like we've had Clero, who was a deadbeat almost last year. And Matuidi only showed up when he wanted to show up.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll touch on all the performances because we're going to rip through the first half and the second half and some key highlights and just talk about these guys and talk about the formation, talk about what we were getting out of Pirlo. Before we get into that, real quick, what was your expectation in this match? What was your prediction? What were you thinking?
I thought it was going to be 2-1. I'm still adjusted to old Allegri Sarri Juve.
Yeah, you thought we would just do the Juve thing and grind it out.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting too much. I knew in the back of my mind that the midfield's going to be huge, but being the Juve of the last few years, my expectations were there. I thought that we're going to take some time to adjust,
Yeah.
but I didn't think we
And
were.
and that's fair. That's totally fair, granted, with what we've seen. Yeah, let's get to the match highlights. So didn't really take long for Juve to start to kind of move that ball really, really well. And we start seeing the support. The biggest thing I noticed right out of the gate was the support. And of all people, our center backs getting involved. And
Yeah.
6 minutes in, Danilo with a great rip that
Yeah.
just dips over the bar there. Odero would have had to make a great save if that thing's on target. Really, really strong rip from Danilo there. I was happy with that. 10 minutes in, CR7 sent through and forces a big save out of Odero. I thought he could have probably hit that one a bit sooner there, but yeah, it was promising start. And then just a couple minutes later, we press again. Ronaldo gets tackled. Not 100% sure what he was trying to do.Maybe draw a foul. He had guys
I
all
think
over
so.
him. Ball falls to Kulusevski. Great hit.
Beautiful. I jumped out of my seat. I just sheer excitement. Like even the way the ball curved in and like he knew what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? It was so finesse. It was like something you'd see in FIFA.
Oh, it was a beautiful hit. It was almost Dybala-esque with a left-footed curl there. Fantastic strike. Great to see him kick off his campaign with a goal. 1-0 Juve. I'm pumped. And I'm like, foot on the throttle is the first thing in my head. Kill. Has always been something recently, past 2.5 seasons. We just haven't had that instinct to just kill, right?
It was more, and I don't know if we touched on this, but it was more individual brilliance, right? Like let's see what Ronaldo today can pull out of his hat. Let's see what Dybala can, pull out of his hat. It wasn't more of a team effort. Like I haven't seen us play with a team since maybe 14-15 when we had Vidal, Pogba, Marquinhos, and Pirlo in that midfield. So I guess it makes sense that Pirlo is the guy orchestrating everything now.
Yeah. This was good, and it was promising from the start. 17th minute in, Cuadrado works a beautiful give and go with Ramsey, but he's offside. But again, we're pressing on the ball movement. This is the biggest thing I noticed right off the bat. We're letting the ball do the work. So it seems hell of a lot more effortless out of the team, right?
Good.
23rd minute, CR7. So McKennie leads this play with an absolutely brilliant tackle. Okay, wins the ball. Ramsey takes it in stride, connects with Ronaldo, sends Ronaldo through, and Ronaldo rips it off the bar. Absolutely rips this thing. Should be to possibly 3-0 up at this point in the 23rd minute. Okay. But yeah, I mean, now you're just seeing everybody's role come into effect. McKennie, the ball winner, Ramsey, the playmaker, CR7, the finisher. You're starting to see what we're going to kind of do, right?
Yeah. And the Kulusevski, I sorry to cut you off, but Kulusevski also had that like free, because he obviously started him at center forward, but he was more everywhere. Like you didn't see him just stick to a position. He roamed. He was everywhere. Like you can find him on the wing, you can find him down the middle.
Yeah,
he was able to link up plays so well.
The entire workings was very, very fluid. Ronaldo and Kulusevski were not set in stone as to where they were going to be. It was very, very fluid. The midfielders, even between McKennie, Ramsey, and Rabiot, they were all really in rotation, but more so Rabiot and McKennie as the pivots. Rabiot, for the most part, especially first half, really stayed back and was the cleanup guy. But it was great. It was really, really great to see. 24th minute, I noticed this one play might not have been a big deal to anybody, but I haven't seen it for so long that it was just like, I loved it. It was like a nothing play. I swear to God. We had the ball on the right side of the pitch. Frabotta held his width right along the sideline. We make one long switch ball to Frabotta. He settles it, takes a quick look up and launches it. CR7 was offside, but
Oh, I know
I
what you're talking
said,
about.
when is the last time we took two passes to get into attacking, you know,
Yeah.
and force an odd man situation? If Ronaldo was onside, if he was onside on that play, it would have been
That would
a
have been
2-on-0 with him and Ramsey. And he was
100%.
already looking to cross that ball to Ramsey streaking in. It's little things like that where, you know,
It's a
a
breath of
lot
fresh
of this
air.
formation and what we're gonna do is just gonna open up this game for us, right? But it was just such a nothing play that stood out to me that I was like, wow, two passes and we just literally turned nothing into offense and
Something, yeah,
potentially a great opportunity, right?
for sure.
33rd minute, Ronaldo misses an absolute sitter after Ramsey does some great work in there. His pass got deflected, whatnot, but fell right
Yeah.
into Ronaldo's path. He's got to bury that. We're talking about a 4-0 possibility right now in the 33rd minute.
The
We're just
33rd
and CR was on. He was great. He just wasn't finishing, but
wasn't
he was
finishing.
on. You know, yeah, you could tell like CR had the energy, had the legs. He was doing well. He just wasn't finding the goals. It just
He couldn't
wasn't there
find the
for
goal
him.
the whole game, and you can tell. I know you want to get. You probably mentioned it towards the end, but you can tell he almost got to him though towards the end when I remember that Douglas Costa play where he literally just took the ball from Douglas Costa, and like you just see the frustration in Douglas's face,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he wanted it. You can tell there was like fire in his eyes, like or in his belly, whatever you want, however they say it. But
yeah,
like
yeah.
it was good to see
And
that.
we'll talk about that too. Interesting you bring that up, but we'll talk on that as well. 42nd minute, and even McKennie again. Something I noticed from Juve, the midfielders are supporting, and they're up and in and around
Yeah,
that area, which is what we need. And McKennie works it to his left, takes a rip, and it goes over the bar. But again, promising stuff that the support is there, and we are committed to the attack. Okay, and not just leaving it up to our forwards and leaving them isolated. Pirlo
yeah,
says he wants to attack with minimum of 5 players, and he's showing that. He's
he's
willing
shown that.
to risk for that reward, and I love it. I
But
absolutely
I
love
also
it.
noticed, although we were all over Sampdoria, and this is my like a hot take, like I'm having, or like a maybe a little bit of unpopular opinion. I was convinced. I loved what I saw, but I feel like on the counterattack, like it could be a possible red flag for us. I feel like we might be a little more suspect on the counterattack because of how much we're pushing forward. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only like thing I was a bit on edge about.
Yeah, now the thing is, with the counters though, that's the big part of having the three center backs back. You've got that essentially you've got your outside center backs which are gonna fill the space down the flanks and anything centrally as Bonucci just kind of drops back to be that cleanup guy. And you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna see one of those midfielders drop back, much like Rabiot did, to be that cleanup.
Yeah.
You're going to get a bit, but even those counterattacks we saw, they don't have the sting of the counters we would get when we were in a 4-3-3 and allowed much more space,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, it's give and take. You're going to get a bit of that, but for the most part, what we're seeing as the positives, I think outweighs that slight risk there, right?
Yeah.
But we reach halftime. It's 1-0, but like I said, I was feeling great at half. I felt very happy with his performance so far. Like I said, we could easily be 4-0 up. Just the goals got to come, and I honestly had no doubt that we would get them. I thought, man, if we just keep working the ball the way we're doing it, I loved it. Couple things I noticed. In Pirlo's system, Chesney's ball movement is going to be very important for Pirlo's play, and we saw it
Yeah.
fall off a couple times during the first half. And it's even in Pirlo's thesis; it's very important. He's got to be that pivot. And we saw him leaving his area quite a bit to be that option and that pivot,
Yeah.
but then he just wasn't quite finding that seam for those passes that Pirlo talks about in his thesis. So it's going
Yeah.
to be interesting to follow that to see how it is. It was nothing detrimental by any means, but it was a letdown in several occasions. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
have to see how that goes. One of the times actually almost created a counter very early in the match.
Yeah.
but we were able to clean it up. It was Bonucci. But yeah, one thing I noticed. Another thing I noticed, Rabiot. I saw quite a few fans criticizing his match in the first half, and I did not feel that way. They were saying he had a bad first half, and
I didn't see anything wrong with it though. I thought he
I
moved the
saw
ball really
nothing
well.
wrong as well. And I think what we need to realize is that, and especially in Pirlo's system, because he speaks to it so much, he did in his interview afterwards, these guys will have roles. And if you look at each player and just break it down to the role and what they needed to do, they all did their job very, very well. Aside from one, I thought was probably Cuadrado. But other than that, I mean, I thought everybody's great. Bonucci stood out to me.
Yeah.
Frabotta stood out to me. Chiellini was good. Rabiot, I thought, was very good. McKennie was great. Ramsey had the freedom to do what he needed to do. Ronaldo was on, just couldn't find those goals. Kulishevsky looked good, scored a great goal. I thought it was a great first half. Very, very happy with it. Let's get your thoughts and your takes on that first half performance.
For sure. I was, so right off the bat, like I know we talked about the starting lineup. I didn't know that Chiellini still had the legs for 90 minutes. Even my dad was telling me the whole time, like, yeah, that injury's the end of him. And then we saw him play last season towards the end. It was almost like he was a shadow of himself. But it was convincing. He was convincing. Danilo, although Danilo pushing up, being that force on offense and coming back on defense was great. I thought that we moved the ball really well. The players were all in accordance, and you summed it up. We moved the ball. I thought Cuadrado was a bit suspect in that aspect, kind of like a little. He was everyone was behind everyone because I don't think he was abysmal. I just think he was just a step behind of everyone else. But it was like a breath of fresh air. Like the only thing is maybe the way we shift back. I think we might be a little suspect, and I said that a little bit on the counterattack. But for games like this, I guess against Sampdoria, we can, like you said, we can risk that.
Yeah,
we're able to risk that, and I felt so good about just seeing Ramsey. And I was thinking we were talking about this off camera, right? Last time I seen Ramsey with so much freedom was with Arsenal that one season where he broke out. I think it was 14-15 or 13-14. I think it was 13-14. That was my senior year of high school, where he was killing it, and that was because Wenger gave him that role. And then the year after, they stuck him in the holding midfielder. But Ramsey was awesome. Ramsey moved the ball well. They all had that fight. They all pushed back. They all went and fought for the ball. I haven't seen that in so long from Juve.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It was a very, very refreshing half of football for me, in my opinion. Just letting the ball do the work. Everything made sense. The spaces were covered. I felt like we always had guys in position where they needed to be.
I wonder what's going to happen when Dybala comes back. I mean, obviously,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah, don't you worry. We'll talk about that. We're going to wrap up second half here. So 47th minute.
Yeah.
We start the second half. We're up 1-0. Frabotta actually gets him behind, forces a really nice save from Audero. Nice hit there. And then after 51st minute, from there on, Sampdoria put a little pressure. Maybe looked like Juve was taking their foot off the throttle a bit. Bonazzola there tips one to goal, ends up going over. 53rd, we come back a bit. Ronaldo ends up going just wide of the goal. And then, yeah, we've got this little bit of flux there for about 14, 15 minutes where we're just – Juve's still in the game, but it's not on the throttle, Yeah. So there's a little bit of a lull there. Sampdoria trying to press. Nothing super, super dangerous at that moment in time. 67th minute, De Sciglio ends up coming on for Frabotta, who put in a solid performance up until that point.
I was very so happy mad
with this kid. They're talking about an extension now for this kid to 2025. He's going to be making peanuts in the grand scheme of things for salary. So, Yeah, all the power to him.
Yeah.
70th minute, DeShilio actually, with a nice settle of the ball, moves in, hits a defender, and just goes wide of the goal. He's been on the pitch for 3 minutes. He almost buries the second, but just wide. 77th minute, and here we go. Aerial battle. Who's in there? Weston McKennie, Bonucci, all over this thing. Horrible clearance attempt from Sampdoria. McKennie taps it off the keeper, falls to Bonucci, puts it home, 2-0. No doubt in my mind we've got this thing sealed. Beautiful to see the guys going up there. This is one aspect of McKennie's game, is he's a beast in the air. So nice to see him getting there. Bonucci, we've got some serious threats. When De Ligt gets back into the lineup, Demiral, Chiellini, Ronaldo. We've got aerial threats. We should get stronger on corner kicks. And yeah, after that, 78th minute, we start to see some more substitutions. Bentancur comes in, Cuadrado. And a few minutes after that, Sampdoria pressing a bit, and I think this one actually goes off an aerial, goes off Bonucci, but goes towards our goal. And man, Szczesny made a hell of a save. Absolute hell of a save on the goal line. Great save there. And then immediately after the sequence there, Douglas Costa comes in for Kulusevski. Demiral comes in for Chiellini. So we get some more substitutions there. 86th minute. Quagliarella actually gets sent through. And I thought for sure he's finishing that. I was actually very, very surprised he missed that. Would have made it 2-1. To our benefit, he missed. A minute later, Ronaldo sent through by Ramsey. Finishes it 3-0. Loved it. You could tell Ronaldo with that little celebration, looking in the camera, he's kind of like, I got this, Where's some to the haters, maybe.
We never left. We never left. We're still here.
Solid performance. There was an instance there. You touched on it. Took the ball from Costa, and Costa was pissed.
Yeah.
After the match, Costa actually was barely saying congrats to the teammates and walked right down the tunnel. Rumors circulated shortly after. He's leaving. Your thoughts on this match first?
I thought it was so convincing. I was so happy. And I seem like a broken record almost saying this, because I've said this maybe like a few times, but we finally played through our mid. We haven't done that in over 6 years. We haven't played through our midfield. I thought that was beautiful. I thought Ramsey was, that creative juice is just coming out of Ramsey. It was just oozing out, like him making the runs. Him, sometimes you find him on the left, you find him down the middle. Him, threading those balls in. I thought it was awesome. McKennie being the N'Golo Kante-esque player that we've dreamed for years, and he was finally doing his thing. Rabiot, I thought, contrary to a lot of people, I thought he played a good match. He was like that pivot, that pillar, that held things together. I love Kulusevski's movement. I thought Kulusevski had beautiful movement. You can find him anywhere. I thought Danilo, the way they makeshift how Rabiot would almost step back, Danilo would go forward sometimes, and he was getting shots on target. I felt like everyone was getting shots on target. It was just you'd love to see that. Like, it's something that we literally haven't seen in, like I said, 6 years. Last time I saw that was maybe under Conte, maybe under Conte. Like, our midfield finally is not, last year it felt like only Bentancur was doing it, because Pjanic was not there last year. I thought he was lazy. Thought he was, didn't do much. And then, when the executive decision was to, toss Bentancur in the bin, or not Pjanic in the bin, and put, Bentancur in, we saw that finally that midfield kind of coming alive, but not really. And then this year, we finally see a midfield, and we've missed that. We long for that. Fabota, I thought, was awesome. Defensively was great. Offensively was able to make those runs, was able to make those passes, could cross the ball. I was over the moon with his play. like I was so stressed about not having a competent someone on the either side of our backs, right, of our right or left back. But we finally have, and he's young and he bleeds Juve and he's part of the academy. Maybe even a future captain. I don't know. I don't want to skip it. I don't want to skip any steps. But fingers crossed, right? I mean,
Well, the thing is this formation, I mean, it makes the most sense. It gets rid of the spaces. In a 4-3-3, the press could not remain consistent. There's just too much ground to cover. And we just ended up running ourselves ragged for no reason. So it wasn't happening. You saw Sarri like to dive into that 4-4-2. However, we still were unable to keep the true width that we required. Having these three center backs at the back, it all starts from there. They pressed that high line from the back, supported the midfielders, allowed the midfielders to get forward, in turn kept our forwards in and around the areas. The work Rabiot and McKennie directly did gave Ramsey the freedom to be Aaron Ramsey. And that was the best Ramsey we've seen at Juve since he joined. So with that said, great opening match, 3-0 victory. This is the first time in a while I think it wasn't clear cut who man of the match should be. It wasn't, in my opinion. A lot of people chose Aaron Ramsey, and I get it. He was up there for me. I personally gave it to Weston McKennie. And the only reason I did was because of the fact his work rate, his heat map was ridiculous. He did so much. He was so strong on possession. He barely put a foot wrong all match. Passing was in the 90 percentile.
Yeah.
He literally gave Ramsey the freedom to press and stay forward. I edged it to Weston McKennie.
I want to pull up. So I was on my phone because I wanted to pull up something that I saw from Around Turin on Instagram. Right, he put out his stats. Weston McKennie had 94 touches, 88% pass accuracy, 1 key pass, 100% dribble success, 5 ground tackles won, 4 tackles, 2 clearances, and 3 interceptions. We haven't had that in so long. Like just seeing ground duels and the tackles was, something like is this Juve? Is this the same team that I've been watching for the last few years? Like
Weston McKennie, awesome. He directly linked up for that second goal. It was his battling in there. Bonucci tapped home. Weston McKennie had a shot opportunity, he just barely cleared off the goal line by Odero, so he almost got on the scoreboard as well. Weston McKennie was everywhere for me. I thought, wow, that's his. Ramsey was fantastic. Ramsey could easily get it, but yeah, I think it's closer than a lot of people think. I'm happy with either one of them. What I'm most happy with is that we have multiple options of man of the match because it hasn't been that way for a while.
Yeah, I haven't had that in so long. I mean, like I said, I said this earlier in the podcast. It's always been about individual brilliance. Like what's Dybala doing today? You know what I'm saying? What's Ronaldo gonna pull out of his hat? Like
Bonucci. Finally, you could argue Bonucci. Bonucci had a great game. Danilo, we've possibly found a position for him that suits him. He was strong at that spot. There's a lot of good positives here. So, Ahmad, before we move on here, who was your man of the match?
And it's not by.
I'm putting you on the spot, man. I'm making you name somebody.
Aaron Ramsey.
There you go.
Ramsey. I was so impressed by his movement, by his passing, like it was someone we've never seen. Like I hope that we finally found him. I hope this is the man that we're paying so much money for. Like we found him. I'm so
the biggest thing with Ramsey will be his fitness, same as always. So closely monitor that.
Fingers crossed.
So Frabotta comes in the lineup, and then obviously the rumors with Pellegrini, and it has been finalized that he will be going on a season-long loan to Genoa. And this is just strange. A lot of rumors circulating about attitude issues and something happening, which would make sense if you were going to get cut from the lineup the day of the match, like actually out of the team sheet.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I would love to know more of the details. This is really, really strange. This impacts us a couple of different ways. There's still rumors of Alexandro being sold, possibly to fund Gosens coming in. For me, right back is still top priority. So if we were going to move Sandro to bring in another left back, but we had Pellegrini there. And the whole thing is too, so he's got attitude issues. Well, why is it just a loan? Are we thinking that this is just going to be like almost a spanking for this kid? And it's like, hey, straighten up. Next year you can come back. Or I'm not really sure. Is it the right move? Is it something we need to do? What was the context of this attitude? Was he upset that DeShilio all of a sudden was going to get named to the starting because he felt he wanted to? Because I don't want to stunt the competition amongst starting roles. And if a guy's hungry and has that desire and gets a little pissed off if he's named on the starting sheet, good.
Yeah.
I want that. I don't want a guy like Daniele Rugani who's happy to be fifth on the goddamn pecking order at center back and sit back there like, yeah, no, guys, I'm good. You know?
Just get my paycheck.
Yeah, I want a guy that has that hunger, that wants to get in there and do that. So before we jump into all this, and I've seen the discussions online and they start flying through. He's got the same issues as Cancelo and whatnot. That's all hearsay. All this stuff. Cancelo really didn't show bad attitude until the rumors of him being sold started coming out.
Yeah.
So is that him being pissed off because he's going to be sold? Yeah, I'd be pissed too. Maybe he was pissed and showing bad attitude because he wanted to stay with the club. It's context, everybody. And that's what I'm saying, right? Pellegrini, would you have kept him this term?
Yes, 100%. I think, and the games that he played last year, I thought he was really good. Like, I don't know what reason we had to like let him go. I know earlier in the season, or like when Pirlo first, not early in the season, when Pirlo first got hired, the initial thing was he wanted to bring people up from the academy, and like he made that very clear that he wanted to bring let players shine from the academy. But Pellegrini's like very good. Like I'm not sure because he's by far better than Sandro. Because Sandro's he hasn't been the same for the last like 2 seasons. I think he's better than Sandro. And like he gets called up to the national team. He's not bad. I'm not sure why. Like I would have 100% kept him, and I would have probably even made him a starter. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way too. I think even if Sandro doesn't end up being sold, Pellegrini would have had that role. He's better balanced. That's my thing with Sandro. He's become way too defensive. However, the last time we saw strong Alexandro was in a 3-5-2 formation.
Yeah.
So maybe this formation could be a way to rejuvenate Alexandro. Do you think that could happen?
Yeah. As soon as he said 3-5-2, the first thing that came in my mind was Barcelona. When we played Barcelona in the Champions League, we knocked them out. Sandro literally pocketed Messi. He literally it was a masterclass. I thought Sandro, for me, that was, aside from Dybala maybe, that match was the man of the match. I thought he was incredible defensively, and then also his support offensively, right? Like with that 3-5-2, it gives him more freedom to just be him, to play his game. I didn't think about the 3-5-2, like Sandro being good. I was more about it's time to go, buddy. Thank you for your services, but you're on the way out. But 3-5-2 is probably his best position.
Well,
and
it's the only thing that could probably bring him back, because in a 4-back system, he has been underwhelming to say the least for a while now. Only good defensively, I'll give him that. Solid defensively, but that's not enough balance, And Pirlo talks about the balance a lot, especially in his thesis. And and just the modern game, you need the fullbacks to work both areas strongly, offensively and defensively. Will you bank enough in the 3-5-2, saving Sandro, to stop the sale if it were to mean Gosens coming in?
So I was borderline obsessed with Gosens last year. I thought the way he, like, even him scoring, what was it, against Inter? Or was it Inter or Lazio? The really crucial goal that he had last year.
Can't recall.
He scored a really important goal, and he scored. He can score the ball. He can score. He can play the ball. He can cross the ball. He can defend. He's a modern. He's what you want in a modern left back or wing back. I would be completely fine with selling Sander to fund Gosens.
Yeah. I think I am as well. I think even if we're banking on that, I mean, for both the stepping up, the Pellegrini one seems strange to me because right back is a top priority for me.
And on that subject,
he is a jack of all trades, but master of none. Okay, he is the epitome of a utility guy. He should be our cover everywhere amongst that right side, but he shouldn't be banked on in any way, in any of those roles as a number one, in my personal opinion.
Oh, no, I agree.
He isn't.
I agree. Yeah. I think also, I would be fine keeping Alex. I like Gosens. I like him more than Alexandro. But if you were to keep Alexandro, I think, and look at the right side, I think we're going for the wrong guy in Atalanta. I think we go for Hatboer. I think he was brilliant last year too. Everyone's talking about Gosens, but we have, Frabotta played left back. You have Alexandro. Why not look at the other side of the field where we actually need help?
Because the strange thing is, if you sell Pellegrini, now you have to fill the spot on Sandro, and it's something I've been saying for a while. Sell Sandro. He's got good value, and you could possibly get a couple spots filled. But if you're going to loan out Pellegrini, which they have to Genoa, now if you sell Sandro, you're stuck having to get a replacement at the left back. You have to. De Sciglio needs to go. If they want to keep De Sciglio as an option for both sides as backup, I don't know, man. For me, I would have kept Pellegrini in.
Prospect, man.
Move Sandro. Yeah, at the border for sure. I'd be all over that. But there's other options too. There was Semedo, who finally finalized the deal. Pereira. There's options. Midfield, not only banking on Ramsey's fitness, I think we're actually okay, personally.
Yeah, for the first time in so long. Back to the Alexandro thing where, like you said, he still has value, right? It almost reminds me of Rugani, right? Like, why we never sold him when he was hot. Like, us Juve fans, we knew that he's not, like, he's abysmal. He's crap, excuse my language, right? But the fans outside didn't know that. And you had reports of Arsenal trying to buy him, and then he was still kind of hot. Now everyone's in touch with reality, and it's like, oh, this guy is not good. This guy is really, really bad, right? And, like, no one wants him. I don't think Alexander is that level of bad, but I don't want him to get to the point. I don't want it to get to the point where no clubs want him. Everyone's caught on that he's not as great as what Twitter makes him, or, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, even Rugani, Twitter made him so much better than what he was.
I don't think it's going to get to that point with Sandro when it comes to quality. I think age will be his deteriorating factor when it comes to Sandro. Because he's 30 now. The older he gets, the more that value will dwindle. And you're absolutely right about Rugani. We had an opportunity to cash in. We should have. We had younger guys out at loan and other clubs that we could have just brought in if we're just replacing a fifth string center back. Okay.
For sure.
And that's my problem with Rugani's situation, is we could have cashed in on that a while ago. And there's players, other examples of that happening. But yeah, Sandro could come into the time issue where we just hang on to him too long, and we lose that window of really being able to get something out of it and move forward with another project, right? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Right back is my highest priority. Getting back to the midfield. The midfield, I think, is actually okay. I know a lot of Juventini are screaming for Awar still. I don't
Yeah.
see it happening. I see us maybe moving De Chilio, terminating the contract with Khedira.
Mhm.
Maybe one more move brought in. If we could sell Costa to, here's one of the things, we might as well get into it, but the rumors are Douglas Costa will be sold. And the rumors are it's going to be another winger that we bring in.
Yeah.
And the name is Federico Chiesa, who we've long been linked with.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
the issue I have with this is I just don't see the need. Okay, because I don't see us getting rid of Bernardeschi this season, which I'm fine with. He could also be an option as one of the wingbacks should we need. But when I look at this team, and this is what I was getting to with the midfielders, I see Rabiot, Bentancur, McKennie, and Arthur rotating in those pivot roles. Arthur potentially rotating with Ramsey as trequartista, also Kulishevsky and Dybala rotating in that role.
Yeah.
Okay. We brought in Alvaro Morata. Okay. So he's
Really,
come back in. We've got Cristiano Ronaldo. And when I look at this, I see a lot of guys already. Granted, one of them goes down. You still have a lot of coverage. And we still have Bernardeschi, who, to the same as Cuadrado, jack of all trades, master of none. He could fill in. He could fill in, right? I just don't see that need. I'd be fine with it if we brought another midfielder in, maybe a driving midfielder, but I'm fine with it. Right back, we need to solve the right wing back issue. We can absolutely not go into this season thinking Cuadrado will be it.
I mean, he's what, 33 right now?
Cuadrado?
Yeah.
I believe 32.
32. His legs won't even be able to, withstand the whole season. Like we need someone else. What almost makes me jealous is Serginho Dest, right? Like I think it was they're asking for like 25 for him, give or take. And we were interested, but then we pulled out completely. And now we hear reports of Barcelona and Bayern battling it out. And it gets me so like pressed up because we need this, and we really need a right back. And I feel like he would have been perfect for Pirlo had, especially with the 3-man in the back, because he can attack. Like that's what you want. Him and Hathor for me would be, ideal. Would be nice if we're gonna continue with that 3 in the back. If we're gonna, if we were to play a little more like, like the 4 in the back, and then Pereira would be nice. But I was so pressed about just seeing today that they were asked for 25 million or whatever it was, and you only have 2 clubs battling for their signature, and we're not one of them when we actually really need a right back.
Yeah, and again, you hear these things like it's great, sell Costa, but now we're going to go in on another winger, and then let's talk about this because some Juventini are thinking now under Pirlo, Chiesa would make sense, it'd be great. I don't have any problems with Chiesa as a player, and I think he's hindered being at Fiorentina. I think he's got a lot of good qualities. I think he's on the verge, if he finds that right chemistry and balance, of just breaking out. But the price tag's always been way too high.
Yeah.
Now the price tag's dropped, but it's around the same money you're selling Costa for. But again, right back is just so much more of a priority. So it just doesn't make sense to me.
No way. No, not at all.
Yeah, so you're on the same boat. Chiesa, we shouldn't.
And I don't know if we talked about this off camera or on camera, but we haven't replaced Lichtsteiner, and he's been out of the club for a few years now. We literally haven't replaced the man, and what I'm saying, maybe like Cancelo was maybe, but not really. You know what I'm saying?
Cancelo was the closest.
Yeah, but
we just didn't get him a fair shake. We had to write the numbers. With the same scenario, right?
Yeah.
People want to talk about Cancelo's attitude or whatnot, but How much? How much of that was because he was hearing those rumors? I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's just, again, it's that fear of Juve doing something that they've done quite a bit, which is
Mm-hmm.
doing really good overall and then leaving that one gap.
Yeah.
Always, whether
Every,
it's left back, center back, midfield, there's always that one glaring weak spot. And that's
mm,
what people are fearing right now. That's what Juventini are fearing. And right wing back right now is a sore thumb. And
priority.
we've got to settle that. Uh, Morata, I want to ask you how you feel about Morata's return to Juventus.
I was so happy. I was like, people was like, oh, his numbers. Like, bro, like, first of all, you know, don't come with you. He's not a numbers guy. And I'll give, maybe I'll give that to him. He's not a numbers guy, but the dedication, the way that like Pirlo's system fits him. He needs ball movement. Like Atletico, they're so rigid and like old Juve. They play like old Juve. That's why you see players like Felix just flopping out of their mind, right? And then you see players like Diego Costa doing well because it's just not the system Morata's meant for. You have balls, our balls, coming in and out, from different sides. And Morata needs that. He can move. Morata's also what's very underrated about Morata, and I like is his head. And we're talking about how good we're going to be at set pieces because of the amount of headers. I remember at Chelsea, his first his first 5 goals were all headers from Morata.
Yeah.
It's I'm in love with this move, and then Morata and Pirlo know each other really well, and that's something that's very underestimated about this transfer. I thought this was because it was either Ed and Dzeko, who I don't want. I thought we were supposed to rejuvenate the squad, not make it older. Suarez, who's I know a lot of fans were excited about him. I wasn't excited about his bills, how much he was getting paid. I thought we needed to save money and not pay these old men to come play with us. You know what I'm saying? And Suarez is not Suarez of Liverpool or Suarez of the MSN. Suarez is a sluggish, very sluggish. Like I said, a shadow of his own self. I was not happy with that either. Milik has a fitness problem. Not happy with that. Morata was one that I was happy with. It seems it's good for our wages. We're not going to be paying him the numbers that Suarez was wanting, or what I'm saying, or the other guys. And the age is just right. Maybe we can get him to even be better. He's at prime age. So I was in love. I was so convinced by this transfer. And then and then you think about clutch. The clutch players we don't have. Aside from Ronaldo, we don't have that. But you think about Morata in his time at Juve, you just think about those clutch performances, or like the time where against Inter where he put the sunglasses on and he knows what it means to play in those matches. And I'm so, like I couldn't be any happier. Like I'm already thinking about because I have the home jersey. I'm already thinking about which jersey I'm going to get a Morata on. That's how happy I am with this transfer.
Yeah, Morata's, I mean, he was a killer for us. No question.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I was one, and there's no proof of this other than the discussions with my father. But we would go at it back and forth because I said I would rather pay the 45 at the time to keep Morata than 90 and go after Gonzalo Higuain. I said I would rather spend the 45 and then spread out the rest amongst the squad. And my dad was like, get Higuain. The guy's like gross. Like, look at all the goals he scored. And we went back and forth all the time.
I
And
had that discussion.
I want to know where you stood back in that point in time. And were you all for the Higuain, or were you one of those saying, let's go 45 mil and just bank on Morata? Because man, we spent 90% of the Pogba money went into Higuain, and we had gaps in the middle of the park.
You're putting me on the spot, man. I was so down for Higuain. I mean, I thought that was the last piece that we needed to win the Champions League because like that crazy
I get
season.
that, man. I get that.
So like I didn't want to see Morata go. I wanted someone else to go. I remember that season with the black and gold jersey. I was thank God I had a brain. I was debating either Morata or Marquisio, but I had a brain. I ended up, putting the better one on the jersey. The club legend, right, Marquisio. But I was that I love Morata. I wanted it to work between Morata, Dybala, and Higuain. obviously there's not enough space; it'd be too crowded. But I was enamored. But when it came down to it, yeah, I thought for me it was sell Morata to fund Higuain, let him go for Higuain to come in.
Yeah, and it
Looking back
wasn't
at
even
it,
a sale. I think it was just a return on
yeah,
loan or
yeah,
whatever. It was
it was,
the
it was
buyout option.
buyback clause.
But yeah, I mean, Morata's back. It's great. And honestly, all of those other options that you named them, the older guys, obviously it wouldn't be the preferred choice. But if we were gonna get those options, you know, my biggest thing was we can't commit a long term. We can't commit a lot of money. But 2 years at Suarez for 6.5, which was the last, wouldn't have been the end of the world.
Yeah,
But when they started talking about helping Barcelona and bailing them out on paying him out
yeah,
of his contract
yeah,
there, I said, no way. Like, you guys are the ones that are desperate. See you later. Dzeko, 17 million euros to get him. Not the best, but still pretty cheap. The guy's actually got a really solid all-around
yeah.
game, and he puts up good numbers with a pretty lame
He
Roma
does
squad. So, 16 goals, 9 helpers last year on that Roma squad's pretty good, actually. And he's a hell of an aerial target, which
for
is
sure.
more what we would look for, too. I was okay with it, especially if he's coming in at 7.5 mil.
I
The
felt like he was,
Morata deal.
yeah.
This one was the best out of the. First of all, Giroud. Giroud was like a hard no for me. I was just
Oh my god, my
hard
heart
no.
dropped. My heart dropped. Like literally, my brother's an Arsenal fan, and like a lot of the Arsenal fans used to call him lamppost, like because all his is just a big lamppost, right? And he texted me, he's like, I guess the lamppost is coming your way. I was like, oh no. Oh, and
Yeah,
I'm just trying to
Giroud
search.
was a hard no. So
Oh, hell
the
no.
Morata deal, 10 million euro loan, fine. He's gonna take a pay cut. He's gonna be 5.5 million plus some add-ins. Might finished up around 7.5 mil. Fine. The
Fine.
best part of this deal, after this season, Juventus holds the option to
I want him
purchase.
back.
45 mil, yeah, I get it, quite a bit. Let's see what he has. But we also have the option to renew the loan for
Oh,
another season.
awesome.
So
That's
that is
beautiful.
just a stellar piece of business. That is the kind of moves we need to be making. So now, if we can't go after a guy that we want to bring in next season, this is just a huge win for Juve. You get a guy that likes being a Juve, knows a lot of the team members already, is friends amongst them. We saw the video clip this morning, him walking in, and
Yeah,
the big embrace with Agnelli already.
that was
Agnelli
awesome.
saying, "Welcome home." I love it. So here's the thing: he either crushes it with us, and we want to purchase him and keep him, or he doesn't do so hot, and we look at alternatives. We can't bag an alternative that we want. We renew the loan for another season until we can get the target we want. This is a great piece of business. These are the kind of deals that make sense for Juve rather than making these commitments to mercenaries all over the place that don't have that bond. And the biggest thing I see now is we're starting to get back to making it about the stripes and the
Yeah.
team and getting the guys that want to be around him. Pirlo's bringing that, that Juve passion back into it. And it's nice. It starts from him. It's bleeding down in the players and now bringing some of these guys back. Marco Storari is back.
Yeah, but
Also get
player development. Yep.
talent development and recruitment role. Fantastic. This is great. This is all shaping up great for us. I'm very, very happy with Morata's
Oh my
addition.
God.
Now, with Morata, I want to get your take on our best formation, our best lineup. Does it change with him coming in? What do you think right now? If you had to line us up, how would you line us up? Our
Okay.
starting 11.
I mean, Tech goalkeeper. The back three. I guess we're talking about when Delict was healthy.
Let's
Our,
say all members are healthy.
okay.
Your starting 11 for Juve.
Chesney, Delict, Bonucci, and Chiellini, obviously. I don't want to see Frabotta because I don't want to say it just yet because there's still a lot to see from him. But I promise, I was so excited for him. But I'm gonna say, just for the sake of experience, it's Alexander still gets that spot. Bentancur. See, here's where it's tricky, right? I don't know. I mean, obviously we spent a lot of money on Arthur, but like, we need Bentancur, and I want to see Ramsey. I love Ramsey. I love what I saw from Ramsey, but I don't know how much defensive balance would it be if I put Bentancur, Ramsey, and Arthur, because then it would be Bentancur doing a lot of work, and Ramsey would have to push back for Arthur to go forward, almost. You know what I'm saying? So I would say maybe because Arthur's quality, and although I gave Ramsey the man of the match, I would drop him for, I would say Bentancur, Arthur, and McKinney. And then at right wing back, I mean, it's whoever we get. If we get that new signing, we get that new signing. If it's not, it has to be, what's his name? It has to be Cuadrado. And then the front two, I think, would be Dybala at a false 9, and then Cristiano as a striker. And I know I had to like put out Kulusevski, and I don't want to, but this is the first time in so long that we have that identity crisis where we have so much quality. We can have players coming in on the bench that we can actually have a rotation.
So let's get into this. So here's my best 11. I've got Tech, De Ligt, Bonucci, Chiellini. Now, already there's fans that have been saying, if healthy, Demiral gets the shout even before Chiellini. For me,
no.
Chiellini is still a cut above the rest, in my personal opinion. Even at his legs and whatnot, the only thing that will always hinder him is his physical fitness. But in a clutch match, if healthy, for me, Chiellini is still a must start.
He's a leader.
Yeah. In the middle, so with the wingbacks, depends on options. Right now, Cuadrado, because there's
no one else
better. Sandro on the left side until I see more of Frabotta. And maybe Sandro can take us back to the glory days. We'll see. In the middle, I go with McKennie and Rabiot. Ramsey or Kulusevski as that trequartista top midfielder. I can't make up my mind, to be honest. Dybala and CR7 up top. That's my best 11 personally, in my opinion, how we would go. Bentancur. Bentancur, has he fallen back down, do you think, in terms of depth chart after making some progression? Do you think now with the additions we've made, Arthur and whatnot? Here's another thing too. I don't know how Arthur's going to slot in here. That's why I don't have him on my starting 11.
The only reason I put him is because of the money. You know what I'm saying? Like the money we paid for him. But I don't know how he slots in.
So you have options there. Like when I'm hearing Pirlo in his post-match interview and he's talking about the 2-pivot system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Arthur have that defensive capability in him? Apparently, from guys that have followed him for quite some time, they say it's not really going to be a part of his game. Does he have enough to be in that trequartista role? Because that's kind of almost a little too much of a stretch in the other direction. He's going to fall somewhere in between. Like, he would have been ideal as a Mezzala from what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
But with this new system, I don't know if he's going to be able to handle being 100%. One of those 2 pivots because of the defensive abilities. However, having 3 center backs might assist with that. So it's kind of a question mark there. So that's my only reason why I don't have Arthur in there. But Bentancur, his role, I think honestly, Bentancur will be in rotation as that energetic ball winner for either McKennie or Rabiot. He can flip in any one of those pivot roles. I don't see him being required as much for the offensive phase. It looks like it's still going to be pretty fluid from everyone, and he'll still get involved offensively, but I don't think he's necessarily been bumped down in the pecking order.
Yeah, I don't think either.
I think he will still play his part.
Yeah.
But I know that a lot of Juventini, I saw comments as early as this morning saying he should be nowhere near the starting 11. How do you feel about that?
I think that could kill his confidence though, because last year he ended on such a high. Like and I was saying this maybe off camera. I'm not sure if on the podcast. Like I thought towards the end of the season he was our most consistent player. I mean, he dethroned or not dethroned, but he literally took Pjanic out of the starting lineup because of how much better he was, how much aggression and how much he bled for the team, right? And a lot of these, and there's like, Wes McKennie, although he had a outstanding debut, like you don't get any better than that. You really don't. I don't know if he can do that for a span of games. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
when we played Bianconeri for those stretch of games, we saw that he did it game after game after game after game. The fans loving him, and then we were so easy to just flip on him the second that he took him out of the lineup, and we saw Wes McKennie do better, which is warranted. Wes McKennie had a dream debut. I think that he should be in the starting 11. I am a big fan of Bianconeri.
So the thing with me is Bianconeri plays very strong for his national side, and it's a two-man pivot that they utilize. So he's very, very familiar with it. When we had him last year, yes, he was consistent. Yes, he was good. But he was almost a flux between the Mezzala and the Regista. He was really not making the most out of either. He was doing well, but some games he shone more, others he didn't. But there was this battle amongst Juventini of, is he a Mezzala or is he a Regista? Some say no, he shouldn't be a Regista, he should be a Mezzala. Others were saying no, he should be a Regista, not a Mezzala. I was saying get rid of the Regista completely. It's just, I'm done with it. You can either play it or you can't. Trying to convert players into it is way too tough a task, especially when the last time you've had it, it was from a complete visionary of a player, an absolute genius, and you're trying to replace that year in, year out with these guys and makeshift. Stop it. Find a system that utilizes what you have, and that's the best thing I've heard out of Pirlo, because that's what he is trying to accomplish, and I love it, and I'm all for it. Bianconeri has the ability to shine in a two-man pivot system, 100%. Especially if it's fluid with that trequartista all in one. I think he will do very, very well. I don't see him dropping down the pecking order. I still see him playing a strong part of this Juve, no question. The last question I have before we wrap up, Ahmad.
Yeah.
I saw this comment on Twitter and I had to stop. I saw somebody say, what an embarrassment. And this is funny, first of all, that we're already talking about this after the first match of the season. But I see somebody post, I can't recall what club they support, but they said, how embarrassing for Serie A should a very first-time coach, never coached a match before, wins the league. And I stopped. And I quickly jotted down, because I was like, I'm going to ask my guest on the podcast how they feel about that comment.
Well, and I think we talked about this. At first sight, it kind of surprised me. It's like, oh, crap, that's actually not embarrassing, but it's like, oh, it's the first time winning the Serie A. Wow, right? But, the more you think about it, the more I thought about it, right? You're talking about someone that's been around the Serie A for 20-plus years, who's been coached by Ancelotti, Allegri, Conte, three very accomplished coaches. So, and obviously he can take things that he likes, things that he doesn't like, right, and mesh it up to be the complete coach. You know what I'm saying? Of the best coach he can. And I think about this, and it's not football, but I think the first thing that comes to my mind is is Steve Kerr with the Golden State Warriors, coached by Greg Popovich and Phil Jackson, literally the two best NBA coaches of all time. He won in his first season too. You think about Zidane too. Zidane didn't just conquer Spain; he conquered Europe in his first season, his first full season. So I think that comment is a bit unwarranted, a bit just kind of like thrown out. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's salt is what it is. It's just being salty. I don't think it would be embarrassing at all. At the end of the day, you have to realize it's not like Pirlo jumped into Spezia, Calcio over here. He jumped into the 9-time, like, in a row champions. Okay? We still got a strong squad. If you look at this roster compared to the dead weight we were carrying last year, it's a stronger roster.
Oh, yeah.
He's already got us playing football I can actually watch without falling asleep. And he's only been one friendly and one regular season match, and I'm already actually enjoying the football. And I'm very much looking forward to our next match, which is something, man, it was almost forceful for a while there because we were playing so ugly. Like, you were almost scared to see that next match because you're like, man, are we going to get rocked? You know?
Yeah.
And last year, the gap's been closed on Juve. We know that. And I see a lot, and the commentators for this Juve Sampdoria match chose Merda to go out and win the Scudetto this season. And I love it. I love it. I want more and more people to choose Juve not to win it this season. All the better for the club, the players, what Pirlo's trying to instill in them, that drive, that hunger, not taken for granted the victories you had. Hey, listen to what these guys are saying about us. You know, nobody thinks you guys can do it anymore. Everybody thinks these guys are better. Fuel yourselves, you know, bring out the fire. They brought in some young, energetic legs, guys that are ready to go all in for it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Don't pick us as champions. I'm fine with it. But as far as saying it would be embarrassing for the league, I don't think it would be embarrassing whatsoever. And I think that's just somebody being salty, to be honest. It would just be impressive, number one, how Pirlo accomplishes it. Because Sarri, who was an established coach, you know, that had experience, these things that Pirlo doesn't have, hell, he stumbled. We crawled across that finish line. And if our rivals didn't shit the bed at the end, we would not have got that 9th straight. And it's no question. It was up for the taking. So I think how Pirlo gets whatever he's trying to do get done, it will say a lot too, but it would be impressive. No way, like, any way you slice it, it would still be impressive if he kept the winning ways in Serie A. Now, there's a couple beliefs tied to this. Number one is the belief that Juve will win Serie A no matter who the coach is. You or I could go in there and coach this club to winning in Serie A. That's one belief that goes around there a lot. Anybody could do it in Serie A. And yes and no. I think there's something about Juve that sets them apart from the rest. I truly do. But you still gotta. This is probably the toughest season that Pirlo will face because the gap it's shrunk a lot, right? I think for a while there at the start of this reign, you know, we were starting to pull away. And now, you know, years 7, 8, 9, it's coming back down where it's pretty close with these other rivals, right? And he's gonna be in for a long season. It's gonna be a challenge, and it kicks off with these next couple fixtures. But Roma coming up on the weekend, and very, very excited for this one. Still a little too early to do some predictions, but we could kind of talk about, you know, what we think's going to go down. Obviously, what a weird shakeup amongst all these transfer rumors with the number 9 and us settling on Morata. But he spoke on it. Dzeko was linked. And then when it seemed that the Dzeko deal was going to be finalized, apparently Napoli wanted to piss and moan about some 150K in fines from Milik before they let him go to Roma. In turn, Juve says, screw you, we're just going to go get Morata. And then that shut down Napoli's deal. So then Napoli, over 150K, ended up costing themselves 30 million euros or whatever. And Juve was willing to pay more than that for Milik at the start, and they didn't want to sell to them. So his price tag dropped from like 45 million to where they were going to take 25 million to Roma. And now they might end up losing him on a free in 7 months. So, yeah, good for you. Yeah. Unbelievable. But it's just funny, right? Suarez, the rumors about this exam and, cheating, and you see the memes everywhere, whatnot. Whatever, it is what it is. I saw a couple of Twitter accounts trying to tie in some fake reports about Juve being in trouble or whatnot. I mean, no, I think, honestly, the more it came out, it was the people from the Institute in Perugia that were just making it, might have done something because they didn't want to be the ones that shut down the move or something. I'm not paying a whole much attention because I don't really care. And personally, I didn't want Suarez. So, is what it is.
You didn't want Suarez at all.
Yeah. Roma, Juve, how do you think it's going to go? What do you expect, my friend?
The line. So now we know what to expect from Pirlo. The players know the expectations. Roma don't seem like they've gotten any better, to be honest with you. I 3-1 Juve.
Yeah, Roma lost Florenzi. Weird move. PSG. Well, I mean, I guess they had an injury to fill, so they got Florenzi. Roma deducted 1 point, and their fans are making the biggest deal about it I've ever seen. They had Diawara, I believe, on the U23 list, but then he subbed on in their last match against Hellas Verona. So the draw became a 3-0 loss, and they're literally talking like it's just changed the Serie A table. And I'm like, it's 1 point. You guys drew that match. You lost 1 point. And if you're that upset about it, don't be stupid in the first place. Like, dot your I's, cross your T's, buddy.
It's professional sports. It's not Sunday League.
That's unbelievable, but I found it hilarious. Like, I'm just like, wow, what an error to make. I agree with you. I don't think Roma has done anything to get any better by any means. They lost Kolarov too. He went to Merda to bring their average age up, which has just skyrocketed. Perisic is back. They got, they're just old.
Junior is going to leave.
Asamoah, Young, Handanovic, Vidal. They brought in Vidal.
Oh, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. Like, that hurt me. Thing is, I wanted to bring this up. Like, I don't know how mad I could be at it though. But here's the obviously no, I could be mad at him going to Merida. I think that was disgusting. Like to him, right? But he threw himself at Juve, and we weren't budging. But we got Wes McKinney, who probably is in our better interest, right?
Yeah.
It sucks to see him go to the enemy, right? I wish he could have. He's still a world-class player, or maybe just below world-class players. He could have gone to any club. That's where it hurts me. He could have gone to any club, and he went to our bitter rivals. and now they're gonna have to see that tattoo on him. So that's gonna be nice.
He's got Juve tattoos all over. The only Merda one he has is the one on his neck that says "Give up." He gets the same treatment as all the others before him ever since 2006, and he is dead to me. And I 100%. Wish nothing but failure for him.
Oh yeah.
Roma. I think we continue where we left off. Maybe we don't hit 3, but 2-0 or 2-1. I could see us pulling this off. I don't think we should stumble with Roma. No. If we can do the same good things that we did in this last match, yeah, I see us taking care of business again and keeping it rolling. But yeah, a lot of promising stuff, a lot of good stuff to see here. We're obviously going to be back. I'll have my video on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe here, and you'll see my preview and prediction videos. And then you guys comment. Every now and then I'll have some prizes too from Striped Hearts. You see custom Weston McKennie shirt that's going to be available soon, designed by my awesome friend Rose. And yeah, website will be up soon. If you guys don't see designs you like, reach out and I'll make some custom designs specifically for you. But not only that, follow on Twitter at Juvecast if you want to take part in one of the podcasts with either a panel of Juventini or just one-on-one with myself. But I welcome everyone's views and opinions here, and I've never, ever shied away from having somebody, even if they completely disagree with everything I say, which is actually really, really fun. But Ahmad, it's been an absolute pleasure. Before we leave, and we're going to have you back on later on in the season.
Yeah.
Before we take off, any like highlighted moments for you as a Juventino that kind of stand out during your
time? And we were talking about this off camera. So there's a few. I want to start with Del Piero and the Bernabeu, where he put on that masterclass. And you can always remember that gold jersey. So that was beautiful. And then him getting that standing ovation. And then my first Juve match. I was at a weird time in my life. My dad had open heart surgery. And my family couldn't be near him because they also had things to do in Lebanon because I'm from a Lebanese background. So, you know, they had families. Their families were getting old. And everything happened, like, right after each other. So it's like they went to Lebanon within the next few days, he had open heart, right? So I took care of my dad that time, and my dad, as a surprise for me, he went and bought me tickets to watch Juve versus Real Madrid in Washington D.C. Mind you, I'm from Florida, so we flew out to Washington for that game. So I'm literally in shock, right? Like, you know, when they play the Juve anthem, and I'm screaming it, and I'm literally in shock, and I see. Before that, I see Chiellini warming up, and I brought a whole bag of like jerseys. I'm talking about like 8-9 jerseys. Whoever I see, I just if I have their name, just throw it at them. That's my thought, right? I'm gonna throw it at them, have them sign it, whatever. I bought a bunch of markers too, thinking that it was gonna be a successful day in that turn. So Chiellini's warming up, and I'm wearing my Del Piero jersey because I knew I can keep that on my back because he's not gonna be in the game. So I'm not gonna risk it. So Chiellini's warming up, and I hold up my jersey and I like shake it at him, right? And then he does this, like, as in, I'll be back. The game happens, and some streaker goes, and instead of like going for like Bale, Benzema, so Real Madrid, Bale, Benzema, Sergio Ramos, this idiot goes for Asensio. Everyone's like, what the hell? And then the other guy thought it would be funny, and then he just streaked just because he wanted to streak. He was like filming it, so I guess he was on Instagram Live or something. So for the safety of the players after the game, they just escorted everyone. And I'm a bit bummed out because I was about to meet one of my childhood idols, right? So, I mean, I continue to have fun in Washington, D.C. You know, me and my dad were having a good time. And then it was time we had a rental car to put the rental car out, give it back to the airport. And I'm giving my dad attitude because it was 5 hours before his due. And he was like, well, we'll sit in the lounge, whatever. We can't, we're going to have to pay a lot more. I was like, I'll pay it. He's like, no, let's just sit in the airport. I was like, all right, whatever, man. And then we go in, and I'm on an escalator, and I see three guys with like a Juve backpack, like a rolling one. I don't want to think much of it, but I'm already starting to get excited, right? And I see that they're heading towards the lounge, and I have a lounge card, and I know my lounge card doesn't go into Lufthansa, but I'm just trying to see if I can run into anyone. So I run into the lounge, and I give my card right away to the receptionist. I know she's going to tell me to go take a hike, right? I give my card right to the receptionist, and she's already behind me. I'm trying to make conversation with some of the employees. And I was like, so are the players going to be here anytime soon? They were like, yeah, they will. I turn around. I already see her doing this with my card. Like, take your card and go take a hike, right? I leave, and I kid you not, within 30, my dad's like, yo, let's go to this lounge. Within 30 seconds, I see Pjanic and Theater coming out. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm freaking out. My dad's like, come. I was like, look who's in front of you. And then like, Cadero was kind of like mean, to be honest. He took a picture, but even in the picture, he's like mean mugging me almost in the picture.
Who was?
Khedira.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it was Khedira, so I didn't really give much of a crap. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, right?
I would
And
have
I'm
asked
Muslim.
Kadira, hey, can you take this picture of me and Mirla?
So my dad is like, what the hell? Even my dad's like, what the hell's wrong? My dad's a Napoli fan, so he didn't, he didn't really care about any of these guys. He was just doing it out of a good gesture, right? So Khedira's being a little bit of a whatever, and then over time I see Alexandro, and I'm also Brazilian, so I sat and talked to Alexandro. I told him that I like Corinthians, my team in Brazil. He's a Santos base. He told me to go F myself, but like in a friendly manner. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
just
Very
banter.
friendly. Yeah, just banter, very friendly. And then I see Barzali, and then he was like, I remember where you were sitting. He was telling me the police had to escort us, but you finally see me now. I don't know how he said that in English. It was broken, but we got to it, right? Like that was what it was. So me and my dad also said like this guy's a legend. Why not take a picture with him, right? And then I just see this huge bald guy, and then in the middle of Washington D.C. Obviously it's Chiellini, right? And in the middle of Washington D.C., I checked in every single Juve jersey I checked in except the Chiellini. I don't know why. And I had a marker inside my book bag. And it was so weird. I had a Chiellini jersey in the middle of the airport, and then he went and signed it. You can see his smiles like up to here. And then he sat and talked to us for a little bit. He's like, I remember where you guys were sitting. I remember you were the guy doing this. I mean, also it wasn't hard to miss me. I was 160 pounds more heavier than what I am now. So I was like a huge blob. I was sweating. I was drenched. I was so starstruck. So he signs my jersey, and then he signed. He's like, I remember where you guys were sitting. I remember this. I remember that. And then we sat and talked, and he went to got a picture with me and my dad. And then after that, Allegri came. Allegri was also very, very nice. We talked for a little bit, and then and then I went home flexing that jersey, and I have it framed and everything. And that was two of my most like best moments, I think, for me.
That's awesome, man. That's great that you got to meet them and that they took the time to even
Yeah,
language translation issues and whatnot still took the time to do
for
that
sure.
and whatnot, right? So that's great. Kadira, if you're listening, what a douche you are. You're a douche.
Get the fuck
That
out of my club.
yeah, it's time to go. But that's funny. It would have been awesome. You would have been hero, legendary status if you just said, can you take this picture of me and Miralem? Because
I
Miralem's
wish.
supposed to be a really nice guy. I've heard like from everybody that.
Oh, so actually, what happened with Miralem? I forgot to say this because I'm Muslim, so obviously he's Muslim, they're Muslim. I say salam alaikum, right? That's how we. And then Kadir didn't say anything because I guess he thought he was better than me. I don't know. Not my issue, right? Pianish was like I can say, and then we didn't talk, but he sees I'm like excited. I'm like a huge ball, and just like really like kid you, very very excited. He's like, calm down, my brother. There's more people coming. The only player I missed was Marquisio because he had already checked in because I checked his Instagram story. He had already checked into his flight, so that sucked. Because I also had a
Yeah.
Marquisio jersey inside my backpack, and that
Oh
sucked.
man, that's still cool though, man. That's
That was
still
the time
cool.
of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. Thanks for sharing the story. Thanks for joining me, being
Thank
a
you.
part of the pod, and everybody, thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, be with you all season long. Stay tuned for the preview and prediction coming up in a couple days for Roma, and any more news. You might see some videos pop up on the All Juvecast YouTube channel. So please subscribe, hit the notifications because I'll keep you in the loop on any worthwhile news once it get finalized. I won't do rumors or things like that. Just hard-hitting stuff and get real, honest, transparent opinions. Look forward to it. Talking to you after the match versus Roma. As always, Forza Juve, Fino alla
Forza
fine.
Juve.
Ciao.
Thank you for having me, man.